This is Prep Period, an all-sports podcast by the Ventura County Star and the people at VCS Preps.
Hello and welcome to episode 32 of Prep Period, the Ventura County Star's all preps, all sports podcast. My name is Dominic Massimino. He is Joe Curley. We are sports reporters here at the Ventura County Star, coming to you live again. It's been, I think, a couple of weeks since we've done a live show. Joe, how's it feel to be flying by the seat of our pants once again?
That's every day, right? So, yeah, juggling, but juggling in a good way and keeping those balls in the air, and whether they're baseballs or softballs or...
You always find a sports metaphor for the day. It's very impressive. I got to give you credit for that. Best. So what are we talking about here today, Joe? I mean, I say it every week because every week is an exciting week in sports locally, but it feels like we're finally into the swing of spring sports. I say that, while still having a couple of things on this show, kind of the ending of winter, just because we had such an exciting winter season. But
they're huge.
But yeah, let's start, I guess, with our favorite subject from last week's episode. You want to take us into what happened on, what was it, Monday night?
Yeah, Monday night history happened in Ventura County. History happened in New York City. Gabriela Jaquez drafted at number 5 overall by the Chicago Sky. I think it's safe to say her late season momentum continued on the upward trajectory, where she was drafted higher than any mock draft we could find had her going. I think we found mocks, the 5 big mocks on the day, released on the day of the draft, had her going 6, 8, 8, 8, and I believe 12 off the top of my head. And she went 5. So it was, I think as our text messages, or I think as you tweeted, it was a wow moment.
It truly was.
A wow moment.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It was, I think, we say this as people who have gotten to cover Gabs and, seen her game and are big fans of everything she's done. I think it was still a surprise to see her go as high as she did, a pleasant surprise. But just, like you said, that momentum, clearly, her performances late in the tournament turned some heads in some front offices, in WNBA front offices, because, she was going into the season was, barely on some draft boards, some not in the first round, and she goes top 5, the first women's basketball player out of Ventura County to be picked in the first round of the WNBA draft. So, yeah.
I mean, that's the big news.
Making history there, and like we said, drafted higher than anybody really, saw her going. So just super, super impressive. I'll read a quote real quick from Sky General Manager Jeff Paglioccia. From the press release that they put out right after they drafted her. Jaquez is a battle-tested 3-level scorer who improved every year in college. Combine her on-court talent with the fact that she's a proven winner, and you have a player that perfectly fits the Sky's vision. I think that's exactly what you and I were talking about, on the show before the draft, Joe, is like, she's, compare her to maybe some of the players in this draft who have, a really high ceiling on paper, who have, the physical gifts or the height or the length. And I think the thing that front offices, and clearly the Sky front office, saw in Gabs is somebody who has improved, all the time in every part of her game. She's a Swiss Army knife who does everything, well, can shoot the ball really well. And that's just a great talent who's now on to the WNBA from Ventura County.
A couple things. She was the second in a 3 straight UCLA player run that high in the draft. I think it's interesting that she went second of the 4 or 5 UCLA players who were picked.
Yeah.
Interesting that the Sky seemed like their adjust their, I don't want to use the R word, but they're, I mean, if you look at that quote,
Retooling,
right,
not
they have a player
rebuilding.
that perfectly fits the Sky's vision. So, they're essentially grabbing Jaquez to build around. And, the other really interesting thing about the quote, I think, is that he leads with her calling her a three-level scorer.
Mm,
So, she's going to be a wing who can, the thing that I think separates Jaquez, from most players is her, like I said last week, she had no weaknesses. So she could defend, she could rebound, she could pass.
right.
But the first skill that the Sky general manager mentions is her scoring ability and the variety of her scoring ability. So I think that shows you what she did as a senior, how she improved as an outside shooter. I mean, she obviously is a great finisher around the bucket, and she was always a scorer, inside the 3-point line in high school. The player that we saw develop. But and I think for us, for our sake, the big key point is that she's the first Ventura County women's basketball player to be drafted in the first round of the WNBA draft. I thought that was the case, and I reached out to old friend Rhiannon Potke, who anybody that has been reading the Star a long time knows, Rhiannon, to double check that fact. Potke put the rubber stamp on that. She remembered Lindsay Metters, former Oak Park High star, who was drafted in the second round of the '07 draft by the Indiana Fever. So there's your Ventura County. And obviously, we've had other players, Sammy Wickham, who was just inducted in the Ventura County Sports Hall of Fame. She she was a free agent. She was actually originally a Sky player who that was her first organization before she won 2 WNBA titles with Seattle. So there's a little bit of a connection there. But again, she was a free agent who came from abroad. Basically out of Washington, she wasn't drafted. She proved herself abroad, and then has carved out a really interesting, as we've detailed in our coverage over the years, a really interesting career, both in her native country, and abroad, including her current resident country, which is Australia. So
That is awesome. Yeah. I mean, so there was a little bit of just one last thing. I mean, and we've talked about it a little bit already, but Gabs had developed this reputation of being like the quote unquote ultimate role player on this UCLA team. She does everything. She's the glue gal out there for them. And with a top 5 pick, I think, most of these organizations, especially one that is retooling, restructuring,
however you want to put it.
Yeah. You expect somebody, to pick somebody that you think can be a star. And I think that's the biggest takeaway, is that that this Sky front office that drafted Gabriela believes that she can be, something more than the ultimate role player, believes she can grow into something in that organization that, will be a big deal down the road and into the future. So pretty cool. And I didn't read this text that you just sent me, Joe, clandestinely, but but it looks like you got us
adding to the rundown here.
You got us a stat of the week. I was just thinking, no stat of the week, but looks like you have one.
Derry texted me this. So Royal is 16-2, 6-0 in Royal Baseball in the Coastal Canyon League. Dusty Dunwoody, who arguably has been our best baseball player so far this spring, 7-0 with an 0.18 ERA. So he's given up 1 run. He's going to start Thursday at home against Camarillo. And that'll put his 14-game winning streak on the line. He's had 12 Ks in each of his last 2 starts. I believe Derry gave us a Dunwoody stat last week too. But, when you've been that good, we can do 2 days.
I was going to say the Deuce's stat of the week this spring, we should just change it to the Dustin Dunwoody stat of the week watch, because we've had him a few times, but it's like the number keeps getting crazier and crazier. I don't know how we can't keep highlighting this kid. I mean, just so impressive. We both had the pleasure of watching him pitch a good bit last season. while Royal was having a great year, and they're doing it again this year. So, go out and catch Dunwoody in action if you ever get the chance. If you're in the East County, get over there.
On that coming up, but we will. Yeah, there'll be some real Dunwoody coverage, I think, in a future Star edition. And remember, that's a good reminder to make sure you subscribe both online and print. VCS preps on every social media that you have. And make sure we just finished the girls track poll. We will have the baseball poll up here shortly. Should already be up by the time you're watching this. So go vote for Dunwoody or someone else as your favorite Ventura County baseball player this season. Dom, how did the girls track poll go?
I think we just have to give a shout out to the Thousand Oaks High track community showing out for their stars here. The Lancers sweep the Ventura County Stars boys and girls track kind of fan vote, our reader polls, with a whopping 50.35% of the vote in the girls track and field poll. We have Thousand Oaks long jumper Jordan Brown takes the victory. She's jumped 19 feet already this season. That's 8 inches more than the next closest local long jumper. So well deserved for Ms. Brown. And second place and third place, you had 2 Ventura High athletes. In second, you had junior thrower Amani King, who leads the area in the shot put with a 34-foot, 10.5-inch toss. She had 37.94 or 49% of the vote. And then long hurdler, 300-meter hurdler, Grace Basinger placed third with 4.6% of the vote. She's the area leading 300-meter hurdler, and she's also dipped under 60 seconds in the open 400 twice this season. So she's got some speed. Shouts out to all 3 of those gals and everybody else who was in our track and field poll for the girls, all deserving of praise. It's just so much talent in track and field this season. So yeah, go read all of our track stuff, and especially in the next couple of weeks as we get through Ventura County Championships, all our league championships, we will have some coverage. So go check that out.
All right. Back to the bat sports for the Ventura Orthopedic Athletes of the Week. Andrew Nicholas, Jr. at Simi Valley. The junior catcher outfielder had a monster week at the plate last Wednesday. He had a grand slam and a 2-run home run and finished 3 for 4 with 7 RBIs in an 11-1 win over Oak Park at a Coastal Canyon League game. On Friday, he went 2 for 3 with a 2-run homer, double, and 3 RBIs in a 14-1 win over Oak Park. Nicholas is hitting .443 with 5 homers, 25 RBIs for the Pioneers, who are 10-9, 5-1 in league. They're actually starting a key series with Moore Park on today, which is Wednesday. More on that in a little bit. And then Adrina Tinoco, who is a name that we know very well from St. Bonaventure softball's run to a CIF title last spring. Senior slugger bashed her way into the St. Bonaventure record book by hitting 2 home runs in 3 tournament games last week. She set the program record for career homers with a solo shot Thursday in a 10-1 loss to Huntington Beach. She went 2 for 2 with a double in her 10th home run in 19 games in the 11-6 win over Central East. Where have we heard that name before? On Friday, Tinoco, 17 career home runs, breaking the great Rachel Williams. Speaking of sluggers who led St. Bonaventure to CIF championships, she was our player of the year when she led St. Bonaventure to their previous softball CIF championship before last spring. She's hitting a robust .560 with 10 homers. It's not Rachel. Tinoco is hitting .560 with 10 home runs, 26 RBIs, a .646 OBP, and a .1280 slug. So that amounts, what is the OBP? That's like a 2 OBP? Yikes. What? And the Seraphs are 11-7-1.
Man.
Not OBP, OPS. It's like a 2 OPS. So, yeah, Seraphs slugging away, trying to defend their CIF softball championship.
Super impressive. We're kind of pinballing back and forth. I've now realized in our rundown between the run, jump, throw vault sport
right.
and the bat sport. So try and stay with us. Don't get whiplash. We are going to talk a little bit now about what was a really, really impressive, really, really exciting Arcadia Invitational on the track and on the field on this past weekend. It was really hard writing the story, recapping this meet, to figure out what to lead with, because there were like a couple of really, really worthwhile choices of like, this is what people need to know. We'll start with what we did lead the story with, which is the Calabasas girls running 44.54 seconds in the girls 4x100 meter relay, the fast section. They place second in that race. They come within 0.04 seconds of breaking the California record in that event. They place second to Rosary, who shatters the California state record in this race, running 44.23. But it's a school record for the Coyotes. It's the third fastest time in the United States this year in the 4x100 meter relay. And it's that Long Beach Poly California state record stood for 22 years. It was set in 2004, and Calabasas comes within hundredths of a second of breaking that record in this race. It's really, it's a testament to the sprint program that has developed so much individual talent at Calabasas in recent years. Names like Olivia Kirk, who is committed on scholarship to go to the University of Oklahoma as a sprinter. She was the leadoff leg. Devin Sproles, who's a really exciting up and coming sprinter. Malia Rainey, who's Malia Rainey and Marley Scoggins, I should say, two names who dominated on the track last season. All four of those girls are individual stars in their own right, but they came together and threw down one of the fastest times ever run in the 4x100 meter relay. So really exciting. Cannot wait to watch them run, the next opportunity that we get to do so. And it wasn't even the craziest, I would say, thing that happened on the track. It's something that we hyped up a little bit, on social going into this meet, was this, this boys this boys 100 meter dash race that was going to pit two of the very best sprinters in the history of Ventura County sprinting against each other in that race. We had Newbury Park's Jaden Griffin, our county record holder, who set that 10:43 mark to break a 16-year-old Ventura County record in the 100 meters just a couple weeks ago. He was going up against a transfer from Bishop Alemany to Westlake High, Damar DeZern, who's run 10:32 in the 100 meters in his career. That was last year. We see Griffin gets fourth in this race, hundredths of seconds determining second, third, and fourth place. He finishes fourth, and he holds off DeZern, who runs 10:45, gets under what would have been, a county record coming into this season, 10:46. So just a crazy, crazy race there. And we're going to get to see these guys race so many more times, at Ventura County Championships and onward. It reminded me a little bit, Joe, of the story you wrote from, I think it was, can't remember if it was the Marmani League finals last year or if it was the Ventura County Championships or where it was, but you wrote a great story about how the tide has sort of turned just a little bit at Newbury Park High in your backyard for what has long been a distance powerhouse is now becoming a sprint powerhouse under head coach Ahmad Rashid over there. So really impressive with Nicholas Durbiano last season being our fastest sprinter. Newbury Park holds the the fastest boys sprinter time this year as well. Super impressive.
Did you mention the Moore Park freshman?
Oh my gosh, I didn't. How could I not even mention Camilla Peltonen?
I know that name because I'd heard some buzz about Camilla. So that's welcome to the newest name to know in track.
Indeed. We've written so much about all these fabulous freshmen. We had a story in the cross country season about all the distance runners. And then here you go. You have Tony Dargan at St. Bonaventure running crazy fast times, and Camilla Peltonen, 1L in Camilla. Peltonen, thank you. 1L. Runs 56.16 seconds in the girls 400 meters, sets a new school record at Moore Park High. It's just her first first season running track here at the high school level, and she's already running, I believe that's the second fastest time of any local, the fastest time of any Ventura County athlete, only slower than, I believe, an Oaks Christian athlete and a Calabasas athlete. So super impressive.
Camille is the younger sister of Linnea, who was one of the best strikers the last 4 years for the in girls soccer locally. Linnea missed most of her senior year with an injury, unfortunately, but a 4-year level college soccer player, and I'm sure soccer program over there is a little sad that I don't think Camilla is playing soccer. She's just focusing on running, and then I think if you had those times, I think you'd probably focus on running as well.
I was just talking, this is somewhat unrelated, but I was just talking about another athlete who I imagine the other coaches at their program are probably super bummed that they don't compete in that sport, is Camarillo's Stanley Filiaga on the boys volleyball team. You're going to be reading some stuff, that I will write about him coming up, I'm sure, because, the Scorpions are dominating right now on the volleyball court. But cool. Yeah, a kid who just plays volleyball and loves it. And even though he's 6'3" and has a 40-inch vert, he has not gone to the basketball court or to the football field. So pretty cool stuff.
All right. Well, tell us about, one of the more fun all-star events we get during the season here that happened last weekend at VC.
Oh, yeah, this was a treat. Got to stop by the Ventura County Basketball Coaches Association all-star game, pitting East against West, above the grade against below the grade, but also just a super fun opportunity for all the area seniors. One last chance to to suit up in their school uniforms and compete, and it's sort of like how the All-Star game in the NBA used to have like everybody wearing their own jerseys, and then they switched to it is kind of jarring to see like blue, orange, yellow, like all the jerseys on the court at the same time.
Like
I will
your
say
shirt,
that,
bro.
Yeah. The bowl. This is I call this shirt the bowling alley fit. It just makes you feel like you're in a bowling alley. But yeah, so the East goes and wins. The East dominates in the girls' game. 88-72 is the final score, but they were up, I think, like 25 at some point. And the girls, I will say, the girls were taking it serious out there. The girls were hooping. There were a lot of like ill-advised shots, which is like that's what you're supposed to do in an all-star game, in my opinion. Right. But that had some of the we had Ann Larson from Ventura High was coaching the West team, and Miles Guy from Moore Park, the East team, and you definitely saw some eye rolling from the coaches at some of the shot selection out there. But super impressive. Sorry, go ahead.
Not to make it all about me, but I coached an all-star game.
Did you really?
Months ago.
Oh yeah,
I was selected to coach one of the local league all-star game, and I brought the kids that were given to me together. And I said, what do we want to do? we want to entertain. We want to score. And when we brought, it was like, hustle, when you bring in, when you break before the game, what I said, keep shooting. That was the motto. I was
Get them up.
Throw it up. We all our points except for one putback were threes.
That's excellent. Great. I love that.
And we didn't win. We didn't win on the scoreboard, but we won the night.
So got to give a shout out, a couple of shout outs to, if I can remember off the top of my head, the 3-point winner, I believe, was Liz Rocha. Let me check this. The sister of Donnie Rocha, who was vying for the 3-point record. Yeah. With Ventura's Kai Stanlin this season. I thought it was very cool. They set it up, the 3-point contest works like you have 3 players from the East and 3 from the West, and they're each shooting at a time. And whoever hits the most gets to do like a championship round. They had Kai Stanlin and Donnie Rocha shooting at the same time, so that was kind of cool.
Oh, fun.
Nice. But I believe it was Liz Rocha, sister of Danny Rocha, who was the 3-point champion. I'm checking right now because I don't want to put bad information out there, Joe. And And then on the boys' side, it was Axel Ostergaard from Westlake, who is a extremely talented player. I've seen him play a lot and has like that Swiss Army knife game, kind of like Jaquez that we were talking about, but is not somebody who I necessarily would have said was like a dead-eye three-point shooter. He hit like 17 in a row when he was competing.
Whoa.
It was Liz Rocha who was the three-point champion for the girls. And then the slam dunk champion, you also had Ostergaard competing, and Jaden Whitehead was competing, and Julian Fuentes from Pacifica was competing, and Whitehead from Camarillo comes away with the dunk contest championship. But just wanted to give. Oh yeah, go ahead.
The dunk contest in the Ventura County Basketball Coach Association All-Star Game is an historic event that has seen the video of it go wide. It's gone viral on social media. It's because you had
was that the year they had? Was the year that we had Jaquez and Drake London
won it one year? You had Drake London in it. Whenever they're mentioned together, that's the video that is shown. Is watching Drake London in that slam dunk contest. I remember I think James Ennis one year, Miami Heat player. Fun to watch dunk. So yeah, I mean, there's been some legit dunkers, and not to cut you off, but
no, it's all good.
Apologies.
Yeah. Jaden, it was I don't think anyone will be offended if I say it was slightly disappointing. I think just because there were some pretty impressive dunks attempted, which I got to give credit for. But yeah, got a couple of times the ball just rattled out, and so it was tough to move.
Got to reach for the stars.
Got to reach for the stars,
man.
For
the sky and end up in the stands.
That was awesome. And I just on the actual basketball side of things, I tweeted this out, but just wanted to say also, like, there were a few players that really impressed, and this is sort of our last chance with all of these seniors moving on to give flowers where they're due, and is also one of the only opportunities you get to see some of these players compete against each other. So wanted to give a shout out to Oxnard's Mikey Duran Morales, who he finished, I think, with 13 points, but just was in complete control of this game, of a pretty competitive game on the boys' side. He hits like 2 or 3 threes just right off the bat to start the game, and then goes into facilitator mode, just dimes all over the court. And then Jaden Whitehead for Camarillo, just really impressed with his his pace, and feels like he's just never sped up. He has a really silky smooth game, and scores from everywhere on the court. And then on the girls' side, you have it's an all-star game, so you're kind of thinking, perimeter players just kind of doing their thing, jacking up threes. But, the forwards who are gritty and, are cleaning it up on the glass and getting those putbacks ended up really shining. You had Andrea Woodward from Oaks Christian had finished with 20 points, game high. And then Brianna Adams of Rio Mesa, similar style of player. They guarded each other a little bit in this game, and just, strong, solid. They were really getting after it, even in an all-star game environment. So shout out to those four.
Okay. That's fun. You got to entertain, and got to ball out. All-star games are fun. All right, so quickly, I'm just going to hit on some baseball points as we get as the second half of the league and the last couple of weeks of the regular season really start to hit. As we mentioned in the roundup this morning, Westlake head coach Wally Barnett set the school record for career wins with his 129th win at the helm, passing Chuck Barrington, who won 128. Chuck, I believe, was the coach the turn of the century in 2000, around then. I remember Chuck. Westlake is now, that was in a 2-0 win over Calabasas. Kane Atkinson had a double, 2 RBIs, and Harris Lee had the save. Micah Cummings had 6 scoreless innings for the Warriors, which is important because it looks like that Marmalani League baseball race is going to come down to one result.
Crazy.
Again, there's 4 teams within one game. Westlake leads at 5-2. Newbury Park, Oaks Christian, and TO are all 4-3. It shows you, how good that league is. Calabasas had a little blip the last couple of weeks, and they went from, being a real contender to being in last place. And, it's, all of these teams, like, you already got a team with 2 losses leading the league. And, you know, um, you'd be surprised if any of these teams won out. This is going to be a bloodbath.
That's awesome.
Um, just a reminder that Royal and Simi really like playing baseball against each other. Um, Royal is now 16-2, 6-0 in the Coastal Canyon League. Like we mentioned earlier, Royal plays Camarillo this week, and Simi plays Moore Park. They have their 2-game series. And that's kind of the prelude, because both of those teams want to come out of those series unscathed, because the Simi Valley rivalry series is next week. Channel League play. The big news locally is Rio Mesa Pacifica and Buena are all tied for third at 5-4. So it's kind of a race for playoff berths among those 3 local teams in the Channel League. Wainimi, Santa Paula are tied at 7-1 in the Coastal Canyon League, and St. Bonaventure and Foothill Tech are both undefeated in Tri-Valley League play. That's going to end in 2 weeks, April 27th and 28th, when the Seraphs and Dragons play a home and away. There's a little baseball update. We will reminder, we will have our baseball poll up relatively soon. I will get our player lists as well together, so we'll get our rankings. The people can have their say, and I will have mine. And then the big story I worked on last week, as we wrap up here, the 2026 Ventura County Sports Hall of Fame inductees. Interesting this year, the Hall of Fame came out with 7. Normally it's 5 inductees. And this class is actually 7. And my inkling on that is that there was a class that was missed when when COVID shut down. So that, they missed the opportunity to induct 5 people in 2020. So I think the Hall might be catching up a little bit on that. Let's go through these names a little bit. Almost all of them are before my time, but they're all really worthy. I think this is a very strong class. Stephanie Martin Barker. She was the #1 player for Rio Mesa High boys golf team. That was when there was no girls golf team.
Wow.
In the 80s. She was the first, it's the late 80s, as I pull up the story here. She was the first she was the first Ventura County winner of the SCGA girls championship. So
wow.
And she played in college, and has been a long time women's golf coach at the University of Kentucky, Cal State Northridge, and now I believe at Morehead State. That is correct. Last 18 seasons she's been at Morehead State. So that's a former LPGA, European LPGA, and Australian Tour All-American at Kansas State. Like legit. Bob Hawking was just a really notable coach at Simi Valley. He kind of built Simi Valley boys basketball into a superpower. It's the all-time leading, the highest scoring team in Ventura County history, 1988, when they won the Division 4A championship in overtime. That's the team that had Don McLean set the season scoring record, which still exists. He had 1,000 points in 1,008 points in one season. The great Don McLean. Hawking's son Butch set the county assist record that year with 271. Most prolific boys basketball team in county history. They were 81-9 over his last 3 seasons. His last 6 losses came to eventual state champions. So Hawking, and it was a sad moment. I was reading all of Lauren's old stories. It was a sad moment in '88 when he moved on he was an assistant at Pepperdine. He later coached at UC Davis. He was the head coach at Cal State Fullerton. So, one of the great boys basketball coaches in county history. Mac McDermott from Moore Park, might be the first inductee from Moore Park. He had a really interesting senior year in 1968. He was one of the first athletes in county history to be selected first team All-CIF in football, basketball, and baseball in the single season. He was a 6'6", 255-pound tackle, basketball center, first baseman. His basketball single season scoring record at Moore Park High lasted for 30 years. And he played baseball at Cal State LA and ended up being a draft pick by the New York Yankees in 1968 as well. Tara McLean Emery. So, Buena High girls basketball is synonymous with Ventura County sports. She was a key figure on their back-to-back Division I state championship teams in 83 and 84. They were down in the 84 final entering the fourth quarter when she sparked the title clinching 12-0 run, hit a couple buckets, assisted by Lee Brock. 6:28 and 3:12 to play. That completed a 31-0 season. Bueno was 78-7 in McLean Emery's 3 seasons. She was Western State Conference Player of the Year at Ventura College and All-State. She played 2 seasons at Oregon State. She was also an assistant coach for 4 state championship teams of Ned Mercedic's teams there at Ventura College. And then she's married to Nelson Emery, who's the tennis coach at Ventura College, and she played for her husband and was the #1 singles player in Western State Conference. She just picked up tennis, and she won 3 straight county open singles titles. Actually,
if you're an athlete, you're an athlete, man.
The next one is somebody I actually covered, Emily Cressy Spreeman, who was our player of the year, our girls soccer player of the year in 2007. One of the great, Buena High has had some magnificent girls basketball teams. They've also had some phenomenal girls soccer teams. They were the #1 team in the country in 2007. She helped Eagles Soccer Club of Camarillo to the youth national championship when she was a kid. But she also was the Big 12 Conference Rookie of the Year at the University of Kansas. She had 23 goals in 60 matches in 3 seasons at the University of Kansas. But where Emily's really shined is in the U.S. Deaf Women's National Team, U.S. Soccer Deaf Women's National Team. She's the all-time leading scorer in the history of that program, 50 goals in 30 career matches. She led the U.S. to a gold medal at the 2005 Summer Deaf Olympics in Australia. She led them to World Deaf Football Championships in 2012, 2016, and 2023. She scored 13 goals in 6 games in the 23 finals and earning Golden Boot and Golden Ball awards. Dom, what's the difference between the Golden Boot and the Golden Ball?
Dude, you can't ask the non-soccer writer this, man. Tell the people what they need to know.
Golden Boot is most goals. Golden Ball is best player. So if you win both of those, you deserve to be in the Ventura County Sports Hall of Fame.
Damn straight.
She's the very first recipient of U.S. Soccer's Female Deaf Player of the Year award. Alicia Valvanis is a name that you should know. She played with her twin sister. She played with her twin sister Alana at Oak Park girls basketball, delivering the Eagles. Think of all those league titles they've had, right? The very first one was the Valvanis twins, 1994. She graduated as the Eagles' all-time leading 3-point scorer. She was also the same at Cal State University Chico. She was nominated for NCAA Women's Woman of the Year in 1999. And she started her coaching career at Chico and University of the Pacific. She worked in the Golden State Warriors front office and UC Berkeley's athletic department. But where she really has shined has been in management in the WNBA. She is the CEO and general manager. Or she was the CEO and general manager of the Seattle Storm. Now I think she's the team president. Mm-hmm. But she delivered WNBA titles in 2018, 2020. As I mentioned before, Sammy Whitcomb. So she had a county player.
That's awesome.
On there. Buena High graduate Sammy Whitcomb, who was inducted in the Hall 2 years ago. She played on both championship squads. And then the last name, Joe Wallace, obviously Santa Clara High boys basketball. just a tradition of excellence going through the decades. Lucianovic, all of that. Joe was the CIF Southern Section Division 1A Player of the Year. It's a second-team All-State selection by Cal High Sports in 1983. He led Ventura County in scoring at 20 points a game. Santa Clara won the Southern Section Division 1A title that year, with Wallace leading them on. And they lost the Division II state championship game, one of the first state championship games. Actually, I think it was the same year, same weekend that we're talking about Tara McLean Emery and Bueno playing state championship game. Joe Wallace played and scored 22 points in the final. They lost 53-51 to Menlo. A couple free throws in the last seconds lifted Menlo to that championship. But again, a phenomenal class. 7 of the best sporting figures in Ventura County history. And just so you can go right now on the website, the Ventura County Sports Hall of Fame website, and buy tickets. Oh, I should mention Joe Wallace started for 4 years at Washington State and an 11-year professional career in Europe. He played for Real Madrid. He played for some of the best basketball teams abroad. Played up until I think the turn of the century. So the Ventura County Sports Hall of Fame has an incredible event every year in June. This year it's going to be at the Sarah Center in Camarillo. They honor the players of the year of the male and female athletes of the year from every Ventura County high school and college. And they induct their Hall of Fame. There's a academic award. There's scholarships. There's all kinds of. It's a great. Will Cowan, the former Ventura College Pacifica High coach, athletic director, who's now at Florida State or was at Florida State. He is usually the MC, and it's a real fun event.
He was great last year.
Yeah, you came to your first one last year.
I was going to say, last year was it was my first one, and it was one of the highlights of my year was listening to all of the inductees give their speeches and talk about how important their time playing sports here in Ventura County was. It was kind of it was a nice way of thinking about our job and being like, damn, like this time is just so important in so many people's lives, and especially the ones who go on and do great things like these 7. So we'll not miss it again this year.
The athletes, and there also we present the Athletes of the Year award. Last year,
stand up there looking awkward.
Yeah, it's always fun. Sadie Englehart won one of those things recently, obviously. So anyway, long story short, tickets are on the website. Come join us. It's a really fun time. It's a Sunday evening, usually. So it's early June. And we will have all the coverage from there like we do every year.
There you go, Joe. I think that's everything we got. You want to tell the people anything else you're working on, things to look out for, things to subscribe to, like this show on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts?
YouTube, Spotify, Apple Pods, which is how I listen to the show. Also, I think that's good. Next week, we got to figure out who we're going to get on the show next week. Special guest next week. We don't know who it is yet.
To be determined.
Special guest.
Awesome. All right, guys. Thank you again for joining us as always. And go subscribe to all the social media at VCS Preps. Go subscribe to this show on YouTube. Like everything. Follow, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Support our work. And we can't wait to talk to you again next week. Until next time.
Comes down to this for Thousand Oaks in their season. It is a gift to Martin. Martin gets the first down and more. It's a nice little screen to the left-hand side. One play and see ya later. Caldera dives into the end zone. Touchdown Oxnard. What a fitting way to end that run. He's at the 40. He's at the 20. 10, 5, touchdown.